One Focus Radio.
Welcome to the show, it's Dyer's Daily. Keeping in the know, it's Dyer's Daily. We've got chat, we've got discussion, nice and slow, ain't no rushing, reading emails and events. Sometimes he makes no sense. It's time to start the show, it's Dyer's Daily. He'll be there in a mo, it's Dyer's Daily. We've got plays, we've got interviews, even stuff that's in the news. Local and otherwise, come and try it on for size, it's Dyer's Daily.
Hello and welcome to the Dyer's Daily podcast for Thursday the 29th of November 2018. Wow, we're nearly into December and we're going to be talking about World Digital Preservation Day and all the different techniques and stuff. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that in just a moment, but first let's have a word from our podcast of the week. Let's take it away right now. Yeah.
When it comes to women's healthcare, too often we face limited options and doctors who just don't get it.
I feel at times that I know more than some of the providers I see.
Lady Parts is a new podcast that takes a wide view on women's health. We'll talk about the latest drugs on the market.
Something that is very low risk, but which isn't treating the disease, is just trying to reduce symptoms.
And alternative ways of understanding our bodies.
Women have more yin energy and men have more yang energy. And so that's why it's more common, like for men, to have strokes, have heart attacks. Women are more prone to stuff like fibromyalgia and autoimmune and stuff that's more deficiency related.
We'll also talk policy, where the healthcare system supports us and where it lets us down hard. Nothing is too gross.
I don't want to describe this because some people who like to eat liver might not eat liver after, but I can recall like clumps of blood clots just coming out of me.
And we'll have some fun, too. So that means women can have more sex.
You're not going to deplete your essence.
Listen to Lady Parts with me, Andrea Maraskin, coming October 21st, wherever you get your podcasts.
Dyer's Daily.
So, dear listener, what shall we do today? Well, I'm not really that sure, to be honest. I haven't really had much thought about it. Normally, every day, it is a little bit kind of ad hoc, spur of the moment, but today just seems extra more so. I'm not quite sure why. I guess it's just one of those days where you think, I just need to sit back, relax, and kind of take it easy. And actually, I've been thinking that tomorrow... on tomorrow's podcast, it's like our 20th episode. Is that really cause for celebration? Is there any cause for celebration for the 20th episode, or should I wait till 25? It's like the silver anniversary. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on that. You'll have to tune in tomorrow, won't you, and find out. In searching for material for today's show, which was very thin on the ground, because the thing is, the TV is covered in Brexit, the Twitter sphere is covered in Brexit, the Facebook page is covered in Brexit, and I'm like, no, there is always a rule. There's a rule that I set out when I did the original Dyer's Daily, which was no Trump and no Brexit. I'm sure there was a third prompter as well, but I can't quite be sure about that. Apparently, and this is an attempt to try and get some different content going. Apparently today is World Digital Preservation Day. That's right, the 29th of November is World Digital Preservation Day. Now, I wasn't sure how to take this, but looking up different websites, it says here about World Digital Preservation Day. World Digital Preservation Day, lovely to say by the way, is held on the last Thursday of every November. This year, the digital preservation community will come together to celebrate the collections preserved, the access maintained, and the understanding fostered by preserving digital materials. The aim of the day is to create greater awareness of digital preservation that will translate into a wider understanding of which permeates all aspects of society, business, policy, making personal good practice. Yeah, I am just as confused as you are, to be honest. I don't really know what to make of it. I wasn't sure how to read it. I guess that means kind of preserving material with digital means, because we have that, and I have done a little bit of that, and it's quite time consuming, but you know what, there is definitely a benefit. Certainly if you've got old collections of photographs or documents or letters, anything like that, because certainly in the case of letters, you don't always have room for them, so you think, well, I'll make a digital copy. Just make sure that it's backed up on some kind of device, you know, so that it's easy to access and to keep. And also with photographs, don't shred them or anything. Keep them to one side, but it is a lot easier just in case, you know, at one time or other they decide to go by the wayside where you accidentally shred them for some reason, or they get burnt down, or just anything like that, really, where they could suffer a deadly fate, a fate worse than death, perhaps. Yeah, you can see how thin on the ground we are today, but yeah, World Digital Preservation Day. Has anyone ever tried those LP scanners that you can get, the little LP players that plug into the computer via USB? Yeah, I tried it for about 5 minutes, but the thing is, those things are so time consuming. You've really got to be in to what you're doing. Otherwise, it's like, you know, otherwise it's just a really, really time-consuming, long, laborious process. But it is worth it, and especially, and I have often thought about starting up some kind of business to do with scanning people's things or preserving stuff digitally, because of course people years ago, like 25 years ago, used to have video cameras as well with tapes in. A lot of people don't use those anymore, but they'll still have the tapes knocking around, and so it is a good idea to preserve them digitally to kind of save the original material from being overplayed, not as in, you know, you get bored of it, but overplayed as in the actual material could wear out, because when it's a physical thing like that, things could wear out. I mean, look at photographic slides. They probably weren't even supposed to last, 10, 15, 20 years. They weren't supposed to last that long, and yet some of them you're knocking on the door of over 50, 60 years old. So it is quite amazing, but it is better to do it sooner rather than later when it comes to digital preservation. I assume that's what they're talking about, and I have seen record offices around the country talking about the idea of preserving things on different materials. It's an interesting subject. I've always been interested in archives and certainly ways of preserving stuff. I mean, they have humongous hard drives now, don't they, that literally hold like masses of material and content that can go back hundreds of years because they've scanned it at some point. It's an absolutely incredible feat, and it might not be seen as the most scientifically brilliant thing to do, but to store all that data. Think about someone like the BBC, who have been going for nearly 100 years, and they started their TV broadcast in 1936. Sure, there's a lot between, say, 36 and 1970, or maybe 72 perhaps, that is missing. But think about all the stuff that remains and the huge archive digitally that they have to maintain. I mean, that's a humongous responsibility, isn't it? I mean, it's a huge, huge job. And goodness gracious, if anything ever goes wrong in those archives, they're going to have a lot of work to do, because things like that can take years to maintain. I often wonder, I don't know whether anyone remembers, but whenever you had a hi-fi, you could always copy on some tape decks from one tape to another, and you could play it at double speed. and record it, and it sort of slowed down. It's like some weird magician-y stuff going on in the whole recording process. I never understood it. I always thought it was broken when I saw somebody doing that. But I always wondered, maybe that's what they do with like tapes. In terms of videotapes and things, maybe they play it at like triple speed and then slow it down later. Well, that can't surely be good for the original material. Although saying that, when I have transferred LPs as like a little test, I have played a 33 at 45 and then slowed it down later. That's probably not the greatest thing to do, but for me, time was of the essence, and I just didn't have time to worry about it. It's like, I need to get this done quickly. When you don't have time to preserve these things, you need to make time for it. Otherwise, you'll just end up with something shoddy. I mean, I've scanned stuff and then found afterwards there's like there's a bit of dust on a really important feature, which you think, if only I'd just wiped it over with a damp cloth or something. Don't do that, by the way, because I'm sure it's not a damp cloth. It's like some sort of like, I don't know, fibery thing. I don't know. This is what happens, you see. I like this show. I like doing this show. It's sort of spur of the moment, but luckily it's about to come to an end for today. But thank you very much for listening to Dyer's Daily. Please remember to rate, comment and subscribe on your favourite podcast provider. My name's been Jamie Dyer, and it always will be. Thank you once again, and I shall see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Don't forget to check out the website www.southwavesaudio.co.uk and take a look at what we're doing on there. Righto, see you later. Bye bye.